Hey people, today we're going to be freezing squash and zucchini, although I don't have any zucchini, but it's the same thing, so it wouldn't matter. Usually I like to show you things in real time, but that's not practical this time because nobody wants to stand around and wait for water to boil, and this is the first step. So let me say first, there's two important things. Squash, if you tried to freeze it, put it in the bags right off and stick it in the freezer, it would continue to ripen. There's some chemical process that would keep it ripening. So when you took it out of the freezer, even if it stayed frozen the whole time, you'd wind up with mush. So the only way to stop it from freezing is to blanch it. Stick it in boiling water for 3 or 4 minutes. Usually I go for like 4 because well, you'll see that in a minute, the size of the pot, and it takes time to put them in and take them out. So about 4 minutes I set the timer for. And so boiling is the most important, and the second most important is to cool them down as soon as you bring them out. So you either want to have ice water, or we're going to run them under the water today is how I'm going to do it. And I'm going to put them in that big bowl there and let them cool off, and then put them in the bags while the next load is going. I also slice some ahead because I can't hold the camera and slice at the same time. So the skinny ends of the squashes I just sliced, you know, just went straight through them and left them whole. And then when I got to the fatter pieces like this, I cut them in half, and then so now we got halves. Now this season is not doing well, the squash season. Today's August 5th. Usually I'm not doing this till September, but the weather has been extremely cool for summer. We haven't had a 90-degree day, barely 80s. Today it's 80 right now, so that's about a warm day. And it is sunny right now, and actually we could use some rain. But production is very low, and the animals are a real problem this year. The first time, years ago, we planted corn out in the gully once, and the day before, the ex said, "Let's harvest it." And I said, "Let's give it one more day." And it came out the next day, and 20 feet on each side was total ears of corn, just 2 or 3 bites taken out, and trashed. The whole thing was trashed. So after that we haven't had any problem with deer or anything else. Last year we had a couple of groundhogs out there, and they didn't do anything. I guess the dogs ran them off, but this year they didn't run off. So they're eating the leaves off everything. One of the beans, pole beans, is totally stripped of leaves. The other one I harvested enough for Donna's dinner. And a lot of the zucchini and stuff, and then there's moisture. It's either too wet for too many days or too dry for too many days, and we're running into real problems. So I don't know how much we're going to get, but we've been eating this yellows for day after day for 2 weeks now, twice a day sometimes, with breakfast fried in a pan with eggs, and then dinner slice it long ways and put on some garlic powder and oregano and sage and whatever spices you prefer, and then either broil them or put them on the grill, which is what I do when we're cooking outdoor burgers and stuff. But I mean, twice a day for 2 weeks, we really need a break. So the best thing to do now is freeze some, and then, you know, at least we'll have something in the freezer for later on. I don't know if I can get you the best view here. I'm right-handed, so coming from this direction might be good. So this is close enough to boiling. It's got some ripples, so we'll put in a handful at a time. These are still pretty good. They don't look seedy yet, but I mean, that's usually what happens by September. So for the winter meals, she'll have much better squash meals with these than. Now, like I say, usually I would start slicing the next one. and I can't do that and deal with the camera at the same time, so we'll pretend that I just did these now. So I'll set the timer. I'll set it for 3 since they've been in there for a few seconds already. And then when it goes off, it'll take me a few seconds to get them out. Now, if you notice, there's a colander in there. I guess I could show you again. This is maybe, one of my friends says she didn't plant anything this year, and one of the concerns was that it uses too much propane to do this with it. But if you see, it's in a colander. I'm not going to dump all this water after each batch. I have a channel lock here, relatively clean, and even if it's not, it's going to boil, and I can hook when the time comes, when the 3 minutes are up. I can just take the whole thing out. One got loose already under there. See him floating in there. I can just take the whole thing out and then reuse the same water until it gets to a point where I don't like the looks of it anymore. I don't know if I can get that rogue out of there. Nope. Nope. I'll get him when I take the batch out, I guess. But he will come out. And keep these submerged best I can. 2 minutes on the timer. So in the meantime, I'll bring you over to the sink where the next order of business is going to take place. Probably go for the purple blue bowl first. I'm right behind you, starting to slice another one while I wait. Usually I can keep up with it in the time it takes. I can slice enough for the next batch and then bag the ones that come out. Use the second strainer, and it works out very well. As I said, when it gets fat, I slice them in half. And then I say Donna has 2 guinea pigs, and they like squash. They like almost anything. Greens. They don't eat meat, but they eat squash, and they prefer dandelions, leaves, and cucumber peels are nice. So they'll be eating squash for a while. Otherwise, when squash and everything else is not in season during the winter, they get carrot. And they can live with that. They have to have their daily vitamin C. So, I don't know if the lime like the sailors, but okay, there goes the timer on the 3 minutes. Sorry to keep you waiting, but I really want to do a lot of editing, because then I edit out things that I said, and doesn't make any sense after all. So there's the pieces up there for the guinea pig. Now, turn that off. I'll get the bucket, or this thing. And this is to make sure that when I pull this thing out with the channel lock like I showed you, this is so it doesn't drip all over the floor on the way to this sink. Out it comes. I got those rogue pieces there with the channel lock. Don't tell Donna. Freak her out. So now we're on well water, so we do use a little electric to pull the water up, but off this cooling down. This goes back in the pot in the meantime. And then I'm going to put another load here. I'll let these sit in the water for a little while I put the next load in. This will be about the same amount as I put in that one, and this process just repeats. I just lost another one down the side, but I'll retrieve them later, and if I don't get them in time, I can't win them all, lose a couple. Back. Set the timer for 4 this time because they really went in easy. I just got ahead on the slicing, so now we'll let these cool off. They're cool enough to handle. One year I weighed them when I bagged them. And with the water content, what it is, I figured if I had all pound bags. Now these are not cold by any means, but they're certainly, you wouldn't consider them warm. Get back up there. Get up there. You wouldn't consider them warm either. They're not even lukewarm. They're really chilled. So I used to weigh them. The one year I weighed them and I made pound bags. I figured it was the easiest way to keep track of what was going on and get the same amount every meal so that one bag wasn't more full than the other. But these bags are sometimes reused. Again, don't tell Donna, but I mean they're just going from here to the freezer. They're so packed with water that it really doesn't matter. And that will be considered full, and then when they go in the freezer, they're going to go in the chest freezer, and they're going to go in. Sometimes old bags aren't the best, but when they go in the freezer, they're going to go in flat like this, which is exactly why I don't use Tupperware, which somebody suggested. Oh, now here's one that hit the floor instead of the pot. That'll go to the pigs. I won't even eat that one because you don't know what goes on this floor. So, there's the one that I sliced before. This will be ready for the next batch. And I think you have the idea now. I mean, this is really all there is to it. I could come bring you back in a minute and show you what the water looks like when it starts to get too old to use, but that's a personal choice. I mean, it's just water, and it's only going to have, you know, squash sap. What are you looking at? It's only going to have squash sap in it, and this ain't even going to be green because it doesn't have any zucchinis. If you're in the habit of eating these raw, which they are fine raw, they really won't be good for that when they come out of the freezer, but they're perfectly fine to add into stir fry or to fry in olive oil, which is usually what I do with them. I don't remember trying them steamed. I'm going to take a look at the timer over there because now I should be getting ready for the next batch. And so it goes. And there's a piece for the pigs, and 1 minute left on the timer, and then I'll, you know, chill the next one and put this one in. And so, if I don't bring you back again, thanks for watching. Hope it helped, and, you know, eat well and prosper. Leave comments down below too. I really could use some, you know, a little play here on YouTube. More comments and thumbs up, or even thumbs down, whatever kind of attention is, you know, that's what counts. It doesn't have to be all positive. It can be very negative. The trolls can be very helpful by bitching and moaning. So anyway, give you a look at my smiling face just one time before we go. Here's the end of the time. There's the size of this batch. I'll mix it around one time just to make sure everything got, if it didn't get directly boiled, it certainly got hot. And back to the pot, to the colander and that whole bit. There's the one in there. And as I say, thanks for watching and have a great day. Okay, welcome back. For a couple of reasons. One, I had the second strainer out in case I needed it, but I managed to stay ahead of things and I didn't need it, so I got everything done. Here's the 6 bags. So when you figure the cheapest frozen vegetable you're going to get is like a bag of broccoli or something at Walmart for $1, so there's at least $6 worth. Squash, even this time of year, is going for $1.49 in the groceries, so that'd be closer to $10 worth. So there's the uncooked portion for the pigs, and then there's what I kept out. I did everything else you saw on the counter except for this, and that can be breakfast tomorrow. What I wanted to show you is how the water turned. It's a little bit on the skeezy side, but it was enough to boil everything that I had. I see the light shining off it too, but so anyway, that's how it got, but there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, it's just sap from squash. So it took me less than an hour. I'm sorry I couldn't do it in real time, but I started, it was afternoon the first time, after 12 the first time I set the timer, and it's 12:52 now. So it took me 35-40 minutes to do 6 bags, one frozen, one pot of water, and then some cold water over here. So I certainly think it's worth the effort and the money to get $6 worth of frozen food. So anyway, off to better things, different things. Have a great day. Thanks for watching. Subscribe down below or thumbs up, and see you next time.